fourth episode of Inside ULM Athletics with Interim Athletic Director Scott McDonald. I'm John Lewandowski, sitting in for Mike Hammett. We'll be joined in a little bit by our student-athlete this week, David Griffith. And, Scott, this is that time of year where we make that transition from the fall sports to the winter sports. And if you just look at the schedule for this week, Wednesday exhibition men's basketball game against Henderson State at 7. On Friday, we've got fall exhibition baseball with Mississippi College coming in for a game at 3 o'clock. Saturday, a huge football game in Malone Stadium at 2 against Georgia Southern. And then finish it off Sunday at 2 o'clock volleyball match against UL Lafayette. And I know that this is a time of year that's kind of challenging for the administrative staff, but at the same time, it's a little exhilarating as you turn that page.
Yeah, I mean, lots of activity going on, like you said, Lou, and starting with that Thursday exhibition game against Henderson State, 7 o'clock. Vant Ewing want people to come out, take a look at Keith Richard and what his staff's put together, and we're really, really excited about that men's basketball team this season. You know, baseball Friday, Coach Federico has brought in 24 newcomers. He's going to play Mississippi College, 3 o'clock. I think it's going to be a 16-inning kind of game. It's an exhibition game, so they're going to try to rotate guys in and out. So you get a chance to see a lot of different players. And, of course, you know, baseball, you don't think about baseball so much in the fall, but they've been working really, really hard over the last month or so. And then, of course, as you referenced, Saturday, huge game that we're going to get into here later with David in more detail. But you know, the division leaders in the West, that would be ULM, and the division leaders in the East, and that's Georgia Southern. They're coming right here. This championship in the Sun Belt Conference is going right through Monroe, and they got to come here. And I think David will tell you, you know, how excited he is and his teammates are to host Georgia Southern here Saturday. And then, you know, of course, volleyball, it's kind of an odd thing. They play ULL down there, and then they come back on Sunday and play them here. And I believe that's at 2 o'clock. And you know, they just come off a big win this week against Jackson State last night.
This is also we've used this program as an opportunity to introduce some of the new coaches to the stakeholders that we have as an athletic department. Now we want to work in a student-athlete. David Griffith, fifth-year senior linebacker. What a great ambassador for the football program, and he's one of 6 current student-athletes on the football roster who already has his undergraduate degree.
How about that? And, you know, here's what I remember about David is a color commentator for radio, ULM football. I got to see David his freshman year, and he was making so many tackles on special teams that we got the joke was on air that we used to talk about David was we're not even going to tell you who made that tackle because everybody knows it was David Griffith. So we saw number 14 streaking down the field, whether it be, you know, kickoff coverage or punt coverage, and the passion in which he, you know, approached the game, and then, you know, the way he could take down, you know, those kick returners and punt returners. It was amazing.
You also had an interesting bye week, and I know that Scott wants to ask you about your trip to the Dominican.
Oh, it was really, really great. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's a blessing. But, yeah, no, it was my sister's wedding, so it was really fun. I've never been out of the country. That was actually my first time out of the country. It was a blast. You know, we got to be on the beach, all-you-can-eat food. So, you know, as a football player, like, that was my dream right there. But no, we got to go to a private island, do some scuba diving, do some snorkeling, got to hold starfish. Everything you would think you would do on a trip like that, we got to do. So it was great.
After we finish this episode, you have to share those pictures. I've heard some have already seen them, so you'll have to take a minute to show those to Scott and I.
Yeah, I got you guys.
We talked back in the preseason, and Coach Viator really kind of embraced it this summer. He talked about playing meaningful games in November. We're going to have a November 3rd game against Georgia Southern in here. They're 7-1. They're only lost to Clemson. Talk about the opportunity ahead of this football team on Saturday. I know as a competitor, you're really looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. Georgia Southern's a really good team. They've been really good for years. You know, they've really stepped out their box this year. I think that they have good players that fit their scheme. I think they have a good defense, and they have great coaches. You know, they're doing what they do best, but we've been working really hard. Coach always tells us it's one game at a time. We've been really focusing on 1-0, which is very important to us. We're not going to look past this game. This game is the most important game of the season right now. So for us, it's really just about getting ourselves prepared, you know, doing the little things right. That's what got us success in the last 2 games. So that's what we're going to try and implicate this week.
David, how important was that bye week, especially when you face a unique offense? Because you're going to see a little bit of everything. You're going to see some triple option. You're going to see some gun. You're going to see some pistol. So how much does that really help in terms of preparation standpoint? Because I would imagine that's a hard offense to get ready for in just 1 week.
Well, it is, because there's so many moving parts, actually. So, first of all, it was really nice just to get a break for our bodies. We had a couple guys who were banged up and bruised up, so it was nice to give them a couple days to, recover. And then on top of that, we were able to steal a couple days, get a little bit more film study, get a little bit more practice in, a little bit more of our technique that we're able to, sharpen before we actually get to play the game. So it's always nice to, come off a bye week and be able to really take a couple days and use it to further your studies on the team that you're playing.
I know you spend a lot of time watching film. I want to talk about their quarterback, Shai Werts, for a minute. This guy's got 700 yards rushing, 10 touchdowns. He's carried the ball 30 more times than our starting tailback, Derek Gore. Talk about him a little bit, because he's so important, obviously, as being the trigger man of that offense.
He's a great player. I think he fits their scheme perfectly, He actually looks like their quarterback when I was a freshman. He's really elusive, smooth. He knows when to pull it. He knows when to give it. He's not selfish. He's a great player for him, good speed. He's really good. We've been really paying attention to him and what he likes to do, his tendencies, what he likes to do around certain areas of the ball, certain areas of the field. His pass plays, even though he doesn't throw a lot, he's still a quarterback. So you got to pay attention to that too. And people sometimes forget that, he's still a quarterback. He can still throw the ball. So we're just looking at every angle on him and making sure that we don't leave any stone unturned.
This is almost a game that kind of plays to your strengths, though, because it's a game that will be played on the perimeter, and you're more of a sideline guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, it's great. We got a lot of good, fast guys. What we lack in probably weight and size, we make up in speed. So, if they're trying to run, we're going to run. So,
talk about the resilience of this football team. You went through that stretch where you lost kind of 4 in a row, got back on track, and now you've put yourself in a position to be playing these meaningful games here at the end. A lot of times, though, teams have to start that turnaround at home, but you did it on the road at Coastal Carolina. Talk about what you've seen from this group just from a maturity standpoint and how they handled that tough stretch.
Well, I think it was after the Ole Miss loss, we all had a players-only meeting, and we sat down and we talked to each other. And a lot of guys felt the same way. It wasn't on anyone else. It was more on us. Like, we were the ones who could make the plays or break the plays. And no matter what happens, we have to stay together. A lot of things can get fixed when you believe in each other. And when you believe in your brother, he's going to do the right thing. And if he messes up, hey, we're going to lift him back up. So I think that was a big change for us. It shows in our gameplay. It shows at practice. It shows in the film study. People are in the film study more. People are practicing harder. People are running to the ball harder. Everyone's giving it all they got. And I think that was what turned us around, and that's why we're on this little streak we are right now. So everyone's just continuing to make themselves better and trying to make each other better. And I think that's what's propelling us through this season right now.
I think, too, Lou, and you've seen this many times, in a season there's a game that generally turns it around, and you referenced the Coastal Carolina game, and I think that's a great one to reference. But I also remember one particular play in that game that I think signaled a turn, and that was a play you made, David. Their first offensive series, you created a fumble. Marcus Hubbard, I believe, was the one that recovered that fumble. Offense gets on the field and immediately executes and scores, and all of a sudden you look up 4 or 5 minutes into the game and you're up 14-0. Changes the complexion of the game, and you can just see the confidence grow. You remember that play?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. I actually didn't realize I had fumbled. I thought I had brought him to the ground, but when I got it, I was like, yeah, like that's perfect. But no, I think that it was just a great set of events that we needed to, get our confidence where it needed to be to play in that game. I think after that play, we all were like, yeah, like this is what we needed. This is what we need to do to excel. Everybody was playing great. Offense played great that game. Special teams was on point. Defense was doing what we needed to be doing. So it was just a great all-around team effort.
If you were to script the game plan on Saturday, though, it would very much mirror that Coastal Carolina game. Quick start by the offense, getting off the field, getting some stops on defense. Make them play an uncomfortable game. Oh, yeah. Make them play from behind. But the one thing, too, they won't stray. It doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 8. Running is still their basic play. Mm-hmm. So talk about that a little bit, though, that it's so important to get off to a quick start on Saturday, in all phases of the game.
Well, it's very important. On defense, I can definitely tell you it's about maintaining what plays they get to run. They're a team that usually likes to run a lot of plays, wear you down. They're not going to if they can hit you fast, they will. But they're really, if it takes 12 plays, take 15 plays, they'll do that. And they're known for controlling the clock, which is very vital. We need to get the ball back to our offense because our offense can do things with the ball once they get it. I think they have some dynamic returners. I think if we can bottle them up, it helps with the defense, which is helping with our goal in the first place. Main goal for defense is just getting the ball back to the offense as fast as possible and in the best position that they can be, because we know that with the weapons we have, Marcus Green, RJ, Caleb Evans, our line is great, Derek Gore, K. White, Buzz. I can go on and on. When you get the ball in those guys' hands, special things are going to happen. So that's what our goal is.
You've taken a very mature approach to this fifth and final season for yourself. You know that at minimum you've got 4 games left in your career, so there's a certain sense of urgency with you. But talk about this journey where you've been with Coach V as he started to build this program 3 years ago to now be, as your final season, to be in a position where you're at right now, where you're talking about legitimately playing for a championship, taking this team to the second ever bowl game in its school history, having that opportunity. What does that mean to you, and what sense of satisfaction does that give you?
Well, just knowing that I have the opportunity to switch it around, ULM has had like a little dark cloud around it ever since I've been here. We've had teams where we thought, we're going to do great things, and we just fell short. And I don't want to go out that way, knowing how much Coach V and Coach Collins and the football staff has done for us. I don't want to end that way for them. They deserve the best. They've done so much for this team. A lot of us were unsure. We were with a different coach at one point, and coming in and having a new coach come in, it's kind of scary. But he came in and he reassured that he wanted everybody. He treated us all like he brought us here. And when you have a coach like that who stands behind you and understands you and tries to understand you, you want to play for someone like that. So,
Scott, you're passionate about your position. You're passionate about this institution. It's your alma mater. I know that you admire the way he plays the game and the energy that he brings every day, and he's the unquestioned leader of this football, not just on defense, but across the board.
Well, and it comes across, and, David has addressed the student body. He's addressed the team. He is a great representative, not only the football team, but this athletic program. And these are the kind of student athletes that if you go into each of these programs, you're going to find Dave has taken an opportunity to take this scholarship, graduate, and get involved in a graduate program. I know he already has a lot of things planned after he finishes school about his career. So, David Griffith is exactly what, when you draw up a student athlete to represent ULM, this is the kind of young man you want.
What does that mean for you to hear that from the interim AD?
See, now y'all are really just spoiling me now. Y'all going to make me get a big head.
Hey, I'm expecting 20 tackles on Saturday.
That's what I'm saying. I got to do it big now. No, but it really does mean a lot. Like I said, I've been here for a long time. I've been here for 5 years. I see everybody here as family, so just like I would see my family, I want to see them succeed. I want to see this school succeed. I want to see everybody here succeed to their highest extent, and I'll do anything if it means, helping you or doing radio or doing anything, for this school. You guys have given so much back to me. The least I can do is give back what I can to this school.
You've talked about your ULM family, but talk about your family, because I know your mom has influenced your development a great deal. Talk about her and her profession for those who aren't familiar with her background in law enforcement, and talk about, you're one of those, sometimes people aren't prepared as they approach their final year of eligibility, what's life going to be like after competition. You've already kind of got plans for you when that time comes where there's no more football, life after football. Talk about the influence of your mother, and then talk about what career aspirations you do have.
Oh, yeah. Well, my mother is a really big influence. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm a mama's boy for sure. But, yeah, no, my mother, she's really helped me out. I'm a criminal justice major. I'm actually already got my bachelor's in criminal justice. I'm working on my master's. I only got 15 hours left, so I'm almost done with my master's. I love police enforcement. I think they get a lot of bad rep, like I said a long time ago, because of so many different certain moments that have happened, and it gives a bad stigmatism on what police and enforcement really actually do for people. My mother has been a great influence. I've seen her in action. I've seen her actually work, and to see how many people she's actually truly helped, that's my goal. That's why I want to do it so much, because I love helping people. And just to see how my mom helps people on a daily basis, it's inspiring. And I want to be able to change things. I want to be able to change the look of a police officer to certain people, because if you've only had bad run-ins with police, you're going to think the police are bad, and you can't be mad at somebody for that. You can't be mad if only time they've seen something is a bad influence. And so for my goal, I want to be police enforcement so that I can set a better standard and a better look on, what people think about police.
Scott often talks about the student-athlete experience. Obviously, you've really enjoyed your time here. When you look back, what will be your fondest memories?
Wow, that's tough. There's been a lot of memories. I probably would say, just being able to be around the team. I'm really team-driven. I'm really family-driven. So whenever I get in a big group, it may not seem like I'm having a great time, or when I'm on the field, I look super focused, but I'm enjoying every second of that. I love being on the field with my guys. They are the funniest people. If you ever talk to them, you guys have talked to them. These are the funniest people you will ever meet. They make me laugh on a regular basis. So every day I get to go into practice, whether I'm sore, whether I'm tired, whether I'm going through something, someone always finds a way to make my day, And I think that's the one thing I'm really going to miss, is being able to go and see these guys' faces and hear them and hear their stories and make jokes with them. I think that's the biggest thing I'm really going to miss.
He has that contagious personality, though. You can't help but have that, his energy and enthusiasm rub off on you. I mean, I know it brightens my day when I interact with him on the way to practice or after practice. So I know that you love that, especially as someone who wore a uniform here and represented ULM.
Yeah, with the passion he plays on the field and he brings off the field as well. And it's always good to see David, because he's going to have that smile on his face. But I tell you, I've seen some other things too. I've seen David play hard when the game's, when it was already out of doubt. What was going to happen in the game? The result had already been determined. He continues to play hard, play in and play out. I've seen him when he didn't maybe play to the standard that he sets for himself, and the disappointment and the hurt that he has, because I know how much he cares about the people he plays with and the school he represents. And so yeah, you can't help that attitude. That personality is very attractive. And I know my wife, when she comes on the field after the game, guess who she's looking for? Number 14. She knows, she watches him every play he's on the field. And, so again, when you talk about how do you personify this program, how do you find young men, young women who are going to be the face of this program, who come to school, get their degree, take advantage of their opportunities, and are proud to be here. And we've got a great example right here in David Griffith.
I know that you strive every day to set your head coaches up for success as well as the student athletes. When you think about the opportunities in front of us on Saturday, a team that's getting top 25 votes in Georgia Southern coming in here, 7-1 overall, perfect 4-0 in the league. It's really, though, an opportunity, too, for this campus community and the local communities to really embrace this football program, invest in the football program, and maybe come out and make a difference, because, David, you can talk about it, but with this triple option offense, they do so much at the line of scrimmage. The crowd can have a factor or play a role in this game and the outcome.
Oh, definitely, because they can see way better than we can, They got a vision. I really think the bigger the crowd, I think it's harder for them to focus too, especially when someone's in your ear. We got the rowdiest student section I've ever heard. I have friends on other teams. They're like, dude, I can't stand playing at ULM. They talking in my ear. They knew my name. They knew I had a girlfriend. I was like, yeah, man, like they're next level here. So just everybody who can come and support us, we'd really appreciate it. We love seeing everybody out there, and we do it for them in the first place.
Well, Lou, as I've gone out in the community, and people say, what about this and what about that? Well, here it is. We're into November. This is a meaningful game. As we referenced earlier, this is the leader, ULM, in the West Division, the leader in the East, Georgia Southern. They're coming here to Monroe. So this has got championship implications right here, right? We've discounted tickets. So we've discounted those ticket prices to encourage people to come out. It's Military Appreciation Day. We've got a lot of activities going on relative to Military Appreciation Day, plus retired and active duty military personnel get in free. So, we've done – weather's going to be perfect. right? I think you're in charge of weather, and it's going to be
one of the
perfect
few times this year it's going to shine on us. It's going to be in the mid-60s. Should be perfect. The pregame flyover. But I just know that you so badly also want to see this whole university community put their best foot forward.
Absolutely. We're shown all over the country, and every one of our home games are going to be on a platform, and so you could see David Griffith and his teammate go out, play with a passion, play for a championship, and it's right here in Monroe, Louisiana. Got to get everybody out and support these guys, these student athletes who work hard in the classroom, they work hard outside the classroom, and represent not only this university but this community.
That's a perfect way to wrap up this 4th episode of Inside ULM Athletics. Scott, thanks for your time. David, thanks for being our first student-athlete guest.